British royal family are among the most well-protected people on earth, having a dedicated Metropolitan Police unit numbering a couple of hundred highly trained protection officers dedicated to protecting the royals. This is in addition to many other security personnel and costs over £100 million a year. But despite this high level of security, members of the royal family have faced dangerous situations, particularly when on the move, out among the people. This was graphically illustrated in 2011, when the then Prince Charles and his wife Camilla were on their way in a heavily guarded convoy to the theatre in West London, when they were confronted by angry students protesting against a huge increase in university tuition fees. Charles's Rolls-Royce was attacked by several protesters, who also shouted less than flattering things at the couple. The Rolls suffered a smashed window and was splattered with paint, but the royal couple, though shaken, were unhurt. However, 50 years ago, in 1974, a senior member of the royal family fell victim to a kidnapping attempt that resulted in shots being fired within sight of Buckingham Palace, and several people being badly injured. It was such a serious breach of security that the high levels of royal security seen today are partly a direct result of this diabolical plot and its bloody finale. In March 1974, the Queen's second child and the current King's sister, Princess Anne, was 23 years old and recently married. Earlier in the day, on the 20th of March 1974, Anne and her husband, Captain Mark Phillips, were driving back to Buckingham Palace from a charity event. The royal couple were travelling in an Austin Princess 4 Vandenpla limousine, built in 1969 and delivered to the Royal Mews in 1972. Incredible though it may seem by today's standards, the car travelled without any police escort. And in the car, apart from Princess Anne and her husband, were Anne's lady-in-waiting, Rowena Brassey, chauffeur Alex Callender, and a single bodyguard, Inspector James Beaton of the Metropolitan Police. Only Beaton was armed. Following the royal car as it entered the Mall, the huge long tree-lined street that leads up to Buckingham Palace, was a dangerous individual named Ian Ball. Ball's plan was to kidnap Princess Anne and hold her for £2 million ransom, which he later claimed he was going to give to the National Health Service to help fund mental health treatments. Ball, an unemployed 26-year-old labourer, had managed to obtain 2 pistols illegally and had them in his possession during the kidnap attempt. A .38 caliber snub-nosed revolver and another very similar weapon, but in .22 caliber. He also had with him 4 pairs of handcuffs, a pair of stout gloves, and a quantity of ammunition for both weapons. Renting a nondescript white Ford Escort car under the false name of John Williams, Ball also had some Valium that he planned to tranquilize Princess Anne with. He also carried with him a rambling ransom note specifying 400,000 £5 notes for a total of £2 million. The cash was to be placed in 20 suitcases and put aboard a specified aircraft to fly to Switzerland. Ball's note also requested that the Queen appear on the plane to sign some paperwork that he thought was necessary. Clearly, Ball was mentally ill. At 8 p.m, the royal car swept down the Mall. Ball pulled his Ford Escort in front of the Austin Princess, braking violently, forcing the limousine to halt. The bearded Ball then jumped from the Ford Escort, brandishing a revolver in each hand. Initially, royal bodyguard, Inspector Beaton, believed that they were involved in some kind of road rage incident, and he stepped from the vehicle holding out his hands in a non-threatening gesture and attempted to talk to Ball. Standing about 6 feet away, Ball shot Beaton in the right shoulder. Reaching inside his jacket for his Walther PPK pistol, Beaton faced a problem. The gunshot in his right arm made firing his pistol extremely difficult, and as he tried to do so, the PPK actually jammed. Ball now tried to open the rear door on the driver's side to get at Princess Anne, but Anne and her husband managed to hold the door shut. At this point, Anne's lady-in-waiting opened the door on the opposite side and managed to escape, and Beaton, his pistol still jammed, climbed into the back of the car and placed himself between Ball and the princess. Ball fired at this point, breaking the glass, the bullet hitting Beaton in the left hand. Bull fired again, hitting Beaton for a third time, throwing him out of the door on the opposite side. In the meantime, chauffeur Callender exited the car and tried to disarm Bull himself, but Bull shot him in the chest. Pulling open the rear driver's side door, he grabbed at Princess Anne, while her husband clung onto her other arm. Bull said to Anne, "Please come out, you've got to come," to which Anne replied, "Not bloody likely." The tussle continued. Police Constable Michael Hills, who was on foot patrol and who'd heard shots, approached the scene, believing it to be a traffic disagreement. He put a hand on Bull's shoulder, who turned and shot the unarmed Hills in the stomach. Hills managed to call for help on his radio as he lay on the ground. Pulling over his vehicle close to the scene, 6'4" tall former boxer Ronald Russell hastened to the scene, while another passerby, Glenmore Martin, parked his car in front of Bull's Ford Escort to block him off. As Martin got out of his car, Bull pointed one of the pistols at him. A newspaper reporter, John McConnell, also tried to intervene, telling Bull to put the gun down, but Bull shot him. However, Bull didn't see ex-boxer Russell come up behind him. Russell thumped him in the back of the head, and Bull lost his grip on Princess Anne. Anne was able to exit the car from the other side, but Bull got away from Russell and ran around to try to catch her. Anne jumped back into the rear of the car, locking the door, and Bull pulled on it helplessly. By now, more police were appearing. Bull was looking for an escape route and ran off. He was chased by Detective Constable Peter Edmonds, this unarmed officer taking Bull down with a rugby tackle. Bull was found guilty of attempted murder and kidnapping, but was also diagnosed as a paranoid schizophrenic. He was sentenced to life imprisonment in a secure mental facility and remains safely under lock and key today at Broadmoor High Security Hospital. Inspector James Beaton received Britain's highest award for civilian gallantry, the George Cross. P.C. Hills and ex-boxer Ronald Russell received the George Medal, the second highest civilian gallantry award, while D.C. Edmonds, chauffeur Alexander Callender and journalist John McConnell received the Queen's Gallantry Medal. Passerby Glenmore Martin received the Queen's Commendation for Bravery. When the Queen presented Ronald Russell his medal, she said, "This medal is from the Queen of England. The thank you is from Anne's mother." The car that Princess Anne was riding in during these terrible events is today preserved at the Royal Estate at Sandringham in Norfolk. Many thanks for watching. Please subscribe and share, and also visit my audiobook channel, War Stories with Mark Felton. You can also help to support both of my channels at PayPal and Patreon. Details in the description box below.